Ignis V was a desolate and harsh planet, yet beneath its surface lay ancient secrets waiting to be uncovered. Covered in deep crimson sands, the planet resembled an endless desert, but hidden beneath its dunes were the remnants of a lost civilization. Massive, crumbling structures, colossal stone pillars worn smooth by time, and enigmatic carvings etched into the cliffs all hinted at the existence of a once powerful force, now relegated to legend. Kai Verton, a daring pilot and adventurer, wasn't easily drawn to myths. Yet Ignis V was unlike any place he had ever visited. He and his companion, Aaron, a member of the Illyri species with luminous skin and glowing eyes, landed on the planet with a mix of curiosity and unease. Aaron, guided by her keen instincts, sensed something was off the moment her feet touched the planet's surface. The air was dry, yet it seemed to hum with an inexplicable energy. She felt as though every step was being watched by an unseen force. "Kai, this isn't just an abandoned planet," she warned. At the center of their attention was a strange sword embedded in a massive slab of black quartz. The quartz, reflecting sunlight into prismatic hues, stood like a dark beacon amidst the crimson desert. The sword, with its silver blade laced with strange, vein-like patterns resembling a network of living circuits, exuded an undeniable aura of power. Kai, ever bold and inquisitive, stepped closer to examine it. He noticed intricate symbols etched into the hilt, resembling ancient script yet bearing a distinctly modern, technological flair. As he reached out to touch the quartz's surface, a faint electric current jolted through his fingertips, making him pull his hand back in surprise. "The stories weren't exaggerated," Aaron murmured. She recounted tales she had read in the grand libraries of Illyri about an artifact said to hold the fate of an entire galaxy. "Only the chosen one can lift the sword. But if it falls into the wrong hands, it could destroy not just one civilization, but entire star systems." Kai chuckled, attempting to lighten the heavy atmosphere. "You're talking like I'm about to do something stupid." Yet his eyes betrayed his fascination with the sight before him. As Aaron surveyed their surroundings, she realized the area wasn't entirely deserted. Indentations in the sand, strange footprints, and glimmers of light flickering in the distance suggested they weren't the only beings on the planet. "We need to be careful," she cautioned. "It seems this sword has drawn more than just our attention." Despite his captivation with the sword, Kai understood they didn't have much time. Others, bounty hunters, military factions, or even alien forces, were undoubtedly also seeking the artifact. He knew that any delay could lead to perilous consequences. The planet Ignis V, with its stark, barren beauty, was shaping up to be the stage for an impending conflict. For Kai, however, it was also an opportunity to uncover a mystery that had endured for millions of years. He couldn't help but wonder, was he the chosen one of legend? And if so, where would that destiny take him? When Kai placed his hand on the sword's hilt, the world around him seemed to come to a halt. It wasn't just a simple action, it felt like an ancient ritual, preordained and waiting for the right moment, the right person. The sword, its blade glowing as if forged from starlight, slid effortlessly out of the black quartz slab, as though it had been waiting for Kai for millennia. The light emanating from the sword not only illuminated the space around it but also pierced directly into Kai's consciousness. He was drawn into a surreal state where every sound, image, and thought seemed heightened and otherworldly. The visions he saw were not his own, they were ancient memories of a lost civilization. He saw floating cities suspended in the skies, massive warships tearing through the heavens, and a powerful species of humans who once ruled the galaxy. They had not only mastered technology but also reached unparalleled heights in knowledge, culture, and understanding of the universe. But their glory was short-lived. Kai witnessed colossal ships torn apart by a swirling black storm. Radiant cities were reduced to ash, consumed by darkness. At the center of it all was the void, a shapeless entity, part storm of energy, part sentient force, spreading and devouring all life it touched. The void didn't merely destroy matter, it obliterated willpower, leaving an endless emptiness in what once were the souls of living beings. In that moment, Kai realized the sword wasn't just a weapon. It was the final legacy of that ancient civilization, a fragment of their memories and power entrusted to someone capable of carrying on their mission. The visions ended with a hazy image, someone resembling Kai, standing amidst a climactic battle, driving the sword into the ground to unleash a blinding explosion of light, sealing the void in the void between stars. While Kai remained entranced, Eren watched cautiously from a distance. From the sword's glow, she could see streams of energy coursing through Kai, resembling veins of living light. This sight both astonished and alarmed her. As an Illyri, she understood that the sword wasn't just an inert object. It was a living code, retaining not only knowledge but also the ability to interact with its wielder. What puzzled her was why the sword had chosen Kai, a human, over anyone else. Eren also noticed that the energy radiating from the sword wasn't random. It was activating something, an ancient system buried beneath the surface of Ignis 5. Using her analysis device, she discovered that the signals from the sword were synchronizing with a vast network underground. This planet wasn't merely a barren wasteland, it was a fortress, a command center of the lost civilization. The signals weren't just activating dormant technology, they were broadcasting across space, like a beacon heralding the sword's awakening. This realization filled her with dread. If the sword was broadcasting its existence, then others would undoubtedly come for it. Rival factions, hostile forces, and artifact hunters would all converge on this location. As Kai grappled with the flood of images and memories overwhelming his mind, Eren faced a difficult decision: should she stop him or let him continue? Her unease quickly turned into urgency. Her sensors picked up multiple incoming signals. A fleet of unidentified ships was descending onto the planet. These ships weren't transmitting communication signals and were heavily armed. This wasn't a mere expedition, it was a hunt. She immediately warned Kai, but he was still locked in the sword's trance. Streams of energy continued to flow through him, and the sword's glow intensified. Eren understood that she had to protect him at all costs, not just because he was her companion but because the sword had chosen him. That meant he held a crucial role in the survival of the galaxy. The arrival of the enemy forces marked a turning point in their mission. What began as an exploration to uncover answers had now transformed into a battle to safeguard an ancient secret and prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. With the sword in his grasp, Kai faced an immense responsibility, needing to quickly learn how to wield a power he didn't yet fully understand. Meanwhile, Eren had to rely on her wit and skills to fend off the imminent threats. Both of them realized that Ignis 5 wasn't just the starting point of their journey, it was the key to a much larger battle awaiting them in the vastness of space. Kai wasn't just an adventurer who stumbled upon the sword, he was the bearer of a legacy and the burden of a lost civilization, standing on the brink of a renewed struggle against the darkness that had returned from the past. The awakening of the ancient sword on Ignis 5 quickly rippled across star systems like a tidal wave, sparking a frenzy among factions large and small across the galaxy. All recognized the sword's significance not just as a legendary weapon but as the key to unlocking the secrets of the Alliance of Light. Now, Kai and Eren, the two central figures in this unfolding saga, found themselves the targets of relentless pursuit by some of the galaxy's most powerful forces. In the first ambush, Kai and Eren realized the peril of carrying the sword. A bounty hunter fleet from the Alpha Centauri system, equipped with advanced energy tracking technology, detected the sword's energy signature and surrounded their small ship, launching high-intensity plasma attacks. Yet, in their moment of desperation, the sword revealed its miraculous nature once again. When Kai gripped the hilt tightly, its radiating light created an energy shield around their ship, deflecting the plasma blasts. Eren observed that the sword wasn't merely a defensive weapon. The flickering light across its surface resembled symbols or codes. She quickly linked the ship's navigation system to the sword and discovered that its signals were guiding them to a specific location, a forgotten planet on the galaxy's outer edge. This area, absent from even the most advanced maps, was believed to have been erased from history by the void. As they fled, Kai began to feel the weight of the burden he carried. He wasn't a warrior, nor was he a brilliant leader. Yet, the sword had chosen him, forcing him to confront an undeniable reality: he was part of a mission far greater than himself. Eren, who had initially doubted his role, now believed more than ever that the sword had seen something in Kai that others could not. The journey was anything but smooth. Along the way, they were pursued not only by bounty hunters but also by the Galactic Council, the most powerful organization in the galaxy. The Council, self-appointed guardians of balance and order, viewed the sword as a threat. They feared that if it fell into the wrong hands, it could unleash chaos across the star systems. A Council warship fleet, led by General Lurya, a legendary combat veteran, was dispatched to capture Kai and Eren. For General Lurya, the mission wasn't merely a directive. She had a personal connection to the story of the Alliance of Light. Her family had passed down tales of their ancestors' sacrifices in the battle against the Void. Though skeptical of the sword's legend, she knew that such an ancient artifact with immense potential could not be allowed to fall into the hands of others. Though Kai and Eren evaded one ambush after another, the tension weighed heavily on them. Eren, with her vast knowledge of galactic history and advanced technology, began decoding the signals from the sword. She discovered it wasn't just a guide, it was a key to unlock gateways to the remaining relics of the Alliance of Light. These relics held not only knowledge but also weapons and powers capable of standing against the Void once more. Meanwhile, Kai began to feel a deeper connection to the sword. He experienced vivid dreams of ancient human warriors battling the darkness, visions of the Void consuming everything in its path. These dreams weren't merely memories, they felt like messages, urging him to continue the journey despite the dangers. As they approached the coordinates the sword had revealed, the space around them began to shift. Stars dimmed, and the galaxy's light was swallowed by an encroaching darkness. They realized they were entering a region once known as the Infinity Zone, believed to be the final battleground of the Alliance of Light before their demise. Eren warned Kai that they might not have a way back, but he knew there was no alternative. The sword wasn't just a relic, it was their last hope for preventing history from repeating itself. However, they were not the only ones heading there. Scanning the ship's systems, Eren detected multiple incoming fleets, including bounty hunters and the Galactic Council. As they neared the planet indicated by the sword, both Kai and Eren felt an unexplainable presence. The air seemed heavier, and space itself vibrated with an ancient energy. This planet was not just a repository of secrets, it was a gateway to a larger conflict, a battle that would determine not only their fate but the destiny of the entire galaxy. Borealis 9, with its endless expanse of ice and relentless snowstorms, was one of the harshest planets Kai and Eren had ever set foot on. The planet's frigid atmosphere was not only physically destructive, with temperatures that could annihilate most forms of life, but it also carried an ominous aura, as though it was a graveyard for ancient secrets long forgotten. As their ship landed on the ice-covered surface, Eren quickly noticed something unusual. The energy signals from the sword, which had guided them across the star systems, were now stronger and clearer than ever. They weren't merely glowing patterns, they resonated like a call, a beckoning force leading them forward. She realized their destination lay deep beneath the thick layers of ice, where ancient ruins had lain dormant for millennia. After hours of searching, Kai and Aaron discovered an entrance buried beneath the ice. The doorway was marked with ancient symbols, a language belonging to no modern race. Aaron, with her extensive knowledge of galactic languages and cultures, worked to decipher them. She identified them as the markings of an ancient human civilization, but not one associated with the Alliance of Light. These symbols belonged to a mysterious faction that had once coexisted with the Alliance. The inscriptions bore a warning: only those who carry the light may enter. Venturing into the underground chamber, they encountered a series of challenges. Ancient defensive mechanisms, including energy traps and encrypted gates, demanded the sword's power to unlock or bypass. Each time Kai wielded the sword and touched the gates, its light interacted with the symbols etched on the walls, creating a mesmerizing display, as though stars were coming to life in the darkness. Aaron realized the sword wasn't just a key, it housed a form of artificial intelligence capable of decoding and activating the ancient technologies. At last, they reached a central chamber, where their objective awaited: the Crystal of Intelligence. The crystal emitted a faint but steady glow, as if it were in hibernation. Upon closer inspection, Aaron noticed its inner energy patterns resembled a living neural network. This wasn't just a data storage device, it was an advanced AI entity capable of interaction and learning. The crystal appeared to be designed to integrate with the sword, forming a connection Aaron referred to as the light convergence. Despite sensing the crystal's importance, Kai hesitated. He knew that every interaction with the sword deepened his connection to it, making him feel as though he were becoming part of something far greater than himself. But this time, there was no turning back. He placed the sword on the crystal's surface, and immediately, a brilliant light erupted, engulfing the entire chamber. The light wasn't just a merger of two artifacts, it opened a window to the past, revealing images and sounds from millions of years ago. Kai and Aaron witnessed the golden age of humanity, a time when they ruled as the dominant power of the galaxy. Human warriors, equipped with advanced technology, commanded a massive fleet of starships known as the Halo Vanguard. This fleet wasn't merely for defense against common invaders, it had been created to face the void, the dark force that once threatened the existence of all living beings. However, the message from the past wasn't just a story of strength, it came with a dire warning: the power of the Halo Vanguard is immense, and we cannot trust ourselves to wield it responsibly. Thus, the fleet must be sealed away, only to be awakened when the galaxy faces true extinction. This message was delivered by a figure who appeared to be the final leader of the Alliance of Light. His holographic image showed tired yet resolute eyes, conveying a solemn plea to future generations. As the light from the crystal faded, silence reclaimed the chamber. Aaron, quick to analyze the information, understood that the crystal and the sword had revealed the first step in a sequence of instructions. These artifacts weren't merely relics of the past, they were the keys to restoring the Halo Vanguard and preparing to counter the threat of the Void, a menace they believed long gone but that still lingered, waiting in the shadows of the universe. At this moment, Kai was no longer just a nameless drifter in the galaxy. He had been chosen to bear the weight of an entire civilization's legacy. But with this responsibility came a profound question: could he control the power the sword and crystal offered, or would he succumb to it? Meanwhile, Aaron, his brilliant and resourceful companion, understood that the road ahead wouldn't just involve uncovering ancient secrets. They would have to confront powerful factions in the present, ruthless forces that wouldn't stop until they seized the sword and crystal for themselves. They left the chamber with renewed determination but also a growing sense of unease. The universe was not just a collection of stars and distant planets, it was a battlefield where the echoes of the past would determine the future. The crystal of intelligence was not merely a technological device but a repository of the collective consciousness of humanity's ancestors. When Kai made contact with it, he was flooded not only with images but also with powerful emotions from those who had lived, fought, and sacrificed millions of years ago. These memories didn't merely recount history, they conveyed profound ideals, the belief that true strength held value only when used to protect and build, not to dominate or destroy. Kai felt the deep will of his ancestors not as a command imposed upon him, but as an invitation. They were not just warriors, they had been leaders, burdened with the responsibility of uniting all races in the galaxy to fight against the void. Through the crystal, he sensed their fear of the void's overwhelming power, but also their unwavering determination to resist, to prevent the darkness from extinguishing the light of life. Yet, the crystal of intelligence imposed a strict condition. The army of the Alliance of Light, the greatest military force ever created, could not be awakened by just anyone. Only someone who bore pure selflessness and genuine love for all living beings could activate this power. It demanded not just capability, but a heart untainted by personal ambition or hatred. Aaron, who often held a skeptical view of humanity's intentions, silently observed Kai. To her, humanity was a race of contradictions, capable of miracles, yet often driven to the brink of destruction by their own ambitions. At first, she thought Kai was merely a reflection of these contradictions, a treasure hunter, drawn by legends and power. But as she watched him interact with the crystal of intelligence, Aaron began to see something different. Kai wasn't consumed by a hunger for power. The memories and messages from his ancestors didn't ignite a craving for dominance in him, they deepened his sense of responsibility. His courage and kindness weren't just superficial traits, they stemmed from a sincere belief in the value of life and the potential for humans and other species in the galaxy to coexist and thrive. This realization forced Aaron to confront herself. As a member of the Illyri, a species that prided itself on superior intellect and rationality, she had always viewed emotions and beliefs as weaknesses. Yet now, she began to see that selflessness, which she once dismissed, was what made Kai stand apart. He didn't fight for fame or power, he fought for the hope that the galaxy could once again rise from the shadows. The crystal of intelligence, as though sensing the growing bond between Kai and Aaron, continued to convey its message. It wasn't merely a device, it was also a test. The challenges Kai and Aaron had faced weren't just to prove their worthiness of the ancient power but to help them understand that only unity could stand against the void. The Alliance of Light's army, no matter how powerful, could not prevail without trust and selflessness as its foundation. A vivid image appeared in Kai's mind, a colossal lighthouse casting brilliant light across the dark expanse of space, guiding lost ships back to hope. He realized that his role was not merely to fight but to inspire, to become a beacon of hope in a galaxy torn apart by ambition and fear. Aaron, once a detached observer, now began to transform into a true companion. She no longer merely saw potential in Kai, she started to believe that he could achieve what even the greatest heroes of history had failed to do, unite all the galaxy's races, not through power but through faith in the light of life. Yet, both of them understood that their journey would not be easy. The galaxy, with its countless factions and schemes, was not a fertile ground for hope. They would have to face not only the void but also the darkness within the hearts of individuals, forces that would never surrender their ambitions to protect their self-interests. Kai and Aaron, though they had come far, knew they were only at the beginning of their true challenge, not just defeating enemies from without but overcoming the barriers within every heart across the galaxy. In a galaxy torn apart by greed and suspicion, the emergence of the Void served as a harsh warning about the consequences of division. On the distant frontier, where the light of stars had faded to mere streaks in the darkness of space, the Void rose. Not just a physical force, the Void embodied destruction and despair, a formless entity capable of turning every living creature and world into dust. Its black energy vortexes didn't just destroy matter, they eroded the will to survive, leaving behind empty planets, lifeless, and without memory. The Galactic Council, once proud to be the foundation of the galaxy's stability and progress, now stood on the brink of collapse. They had once seen Kai as a rebel, a threat to their power. But now, as their most elite armies could not withstand the Void, the Council had no choice but to humble themselves and beg for his help. This was not just an admission of failure, it was a shift in the balance of power, a turning point showing that the Council's outdated and conservative values were no longer relevant in such perilous times. Kai, wielding the ancient sword, was no longer just an explorer or a warrior. He had become a symbol of hope, a banner around which different species could rally. His acceptance of the Council's plea wasn't out of vengeance or a desire to prove himself, but a decision rooted in responsibility. Kai understood that the Void did not discriminate between humans, Illyri, or any other race, it destroyed all. He knew that if the galaxy did not unite, not just one civilization but all life would be wiped out. Leading a multi-species alliance was no easy task. Every race had its own culture, strategies, and interests, not to mention historical conflicts. The Illyri, with their superior intellect, often looked down on other species as inferior. The sentient machines of the Omicron homeworld didn't trust organic life, believing emotions to be a weakness. However, it was here that Kai's leadership shone. He didn't just speak, he proved his worth through actions, putting his life on the line in battle to build trust among the allies. Eren, once skeptical of Kai's abilities, had now become his most loyal supporter. She was not only a powerful warrior but also the bridge that helped ease tensions between the races. The bond between her and Kai went beyond mere comradeship, it was an unspoken trust between two individuals from entirely different worlds. The journey to the seal of the glorious army was a grueling trial. The sword, which guided Kai, was more than just a tool, it seemed to have a will of its own. It reacted to the dangers around them, glowing brightly whenever the Void drew near. Kai and his allies had to navigate through rifts in space torn apart by black energy, facing creatures transformed by the Void, ghosts of former beings, stripped of intelligence but endowed with brutal strength. Upon reaching the seal's location, Kai and the Alliance discovered a massive gate surrounded by a field of light energy. This gate could only be opened with the sword and the will of its wielder. But the surprising part was that, to activate the gate, Kai had to face one final test from the Crystal of Intelligence. It wasn't a test of strength or combat skills, but a test of mercy and the ability to place the welfare of the entire galaxy above his own. The image of the glorious army slowly appeared after the gate opened. Massive ships, designed with technology far beyond current understanding, were not just weapons but symbols of power and unity. Each ship carried a story, a piece of memory from those who had created them, individuals willing to sacrifice everything to protect the galaxy from the Void. As the ships activated, the sky blazed with brilliant light. But Kai and his allies knew that this was just the beginning. The Void would not be easily defeated, and the appearance of the glorious army would draw the attention of other forces within the galaxy. Kai understood that victory would not come from strength alone, but from the trust and unity he had fought so hard to build. After the victory over the Void, the entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath in a moment of silence. Kai, standing amidst the wreckage of the battle, did not feel the elation of victory but a heavy weight. The war had not only drained resources and manpower but had left deep scars in the trust between the races. More than anyone, Kai understood that to maintain peace, the galaxy could not return to the way it was before. They needed a new direction, a legacy not built on personal strength or absolute power. The final battle, fought at the edge of a fading supernova, symbolized the confrontation between light and darkness. The massive ships of the glorious army shone brightly, combined with the multi-species alliance forces, to fight against the thick black energy of the void. But what made the victory truly remarkable wasn't just the overwhelming military strength or strategy. It was the moment when the different races, each with their own conflicts and suspicions, worked together harmoniously, placing their trust in Kai and the ideals he represented. Eren, who had traveled from skepticism to complete trust in Kai, witnessed the transformation in the mindset of the Illyri warriors. She realized that, for them, this victory was not just a military triumph but a profound lesson in courage and unity. The Illyri, who had always prided themselves on their intellectual superiority, began to accept that humility and the ability to cooperate were essential to surviving in a vast and diverse galaxy. After the battle, the Galactic Council convened an emergency meeting at a neutral space station, once a symbol of power, but now redefined as a forum for all species. Kai, with his light sword by his side, entered the meeting not as a conqueror but as a leader representing hope. He rejected the Council's offer to wield absolute power and instead affirmed that all future decisions must be built on trust and consensus. Kai's declaration of a new era for the galaxy was not an empty promise. It was an oath backed by action. The sword, a symbol of power and ancient heritage, was placed in a temple at the heart of the galaxy. The temple was not only a place to protect the sword but also a reminder to all beings of the value of unity and responsibility. Only when a true threat emerged, when the existence of the galaxy was at risk, would the sword be used, and only by those with a selfless will, not for personal gain. The temple, with its architecture blending the civilizations of various species, became a sacred site. Delegates from across the galaxy came here not only to view the sword but to learn from the lessons of the past. Stories of the glorious army, the war against the void, and the courage of Kai and Eren were recorded in hundreds of languages, passed down through generations as a shared legacy of the galaxy. But the legacy did not stop with symbols. Kai and his allies worked tirelessly to build a new political and social structure. The territories that had once been centers of unrest were rebuilt into neutral zones or joint research hubs. The ancient technology of humanity, restored from the era of the glorious army, was shared equitably among the species, no longer used as a tool for control or warfare. Eren, Kai's loyal companion, now took on the role of a diplomat and advisor for the alliance. She not only helped mend relations between the species but also introduced sweeping reforms to ensure the protection of minority groups. With her wisdom and experience from the journey with Kai, Eren became a symbol of harmony between cultures. However, the transition didn't come without challenges. Some factions still quietly opposed the changes, believing that the ancient legacy should belong to the strongest. Extremist groups tried to rekindle conflicts, but thanks to the solid alliance system, these seeds of unrest were quickly stamped out. Kai, though more of an advisor than a political leader, kept a watchful eye to ensure that his original ideals were not distorted by personal ambitions. The new legacy Kai left behind was not just a peaceful galaxy. It was the belief that, even in the darkest times, the light of compassion and unity could prevail. Kai, Eren, and their allies had not only changed history but had redefined the meaning of existence, that no being, no matter how small, would be forgotten in the vast picture of the universe.